The blue whale is the biggest animal in the world. It's possibly the biggest animal in history. But what if we told you that this is not actually the case? What if there was an animal that was even bigger than this giant of the sea that weighs as much as 30 African bush elephants? You don't believe me? Many people believe the largest animal on the planet is the blue whale, but that's not entirely true. There are 4 subspecies of blue whales, and some of them are larger than others. Marine biologists will tell you that the largest animal on the planet is actually the Antarctic blue whale subspecies. The World Wildlife Fund has stated that these are not just the largest animals in the world, but the largest animals in history. No dinosaur ever got to be as big and as heavy as a blue whale. When it comes to size, the Antarctic blue whale weighs about 200 tons. That's about 50 tons more than the weight of the average blue whale, which weighs on the high end 150 tons. To give you a perspective as to how big that is, take the Boeing Dreamlifter. It's one of the largest wide-body cargo jets in the world, and when it's empty, it weighs 199 tons. That's still a ton short compared to the Antarctic blue whale. Or if you were to take the Statue of Liberty, which weighs 204 tons, then you would only slightly exceed the weight of the Antarctic blue whale. When it comes to length, we should tell you that the Antarctic blue whale measures 100 feet. That's the same length as 3 yellow school buses placed in a single row. Also, if you were to take the Megalodon, the largest shark in the world, you would need 2 of them to even come close to the blue whale. But we think 1 would be more than enough to take any whale down. Since we're talking about eating, we should tell you that the Antarctic blue whale is not a predator. Its favorite food is krill, the small crustaceans found in the ocean, and when they're hungry, they eat about 3.6 tons of krill per day. To give you a rough comparison, the average American will eat about 2,000 pounds of food per year. What does this mean? Well, in a single day of eating, the blue whale consumes more food than an American will consume in 4 years. To keep its body afloat, the blue whale has a heart the size of a car, not just the engine of a car, but an actual car. And we were stunned to find out that the heart of the Antarctic blue whale will have to last them for about 80 to 90 years. In one instance, a whale was estimated to be around 110 years old, making these marine mammals the longest living animals on Earth. The blue whale might live to be 100 years of age, but they're all born as little calves. Well, we don't know if we can actually say little because a whale calf weighs about 3 tons and stretches for around 25 feet. At that weight, they're the same size as a white rhino, or the mother's tongue. And from the day it's born, the whale will feast only on its mother's milk. We don't know how much they drink, but since they gain about 200 pounds every single day in the first 365 days, we're gonna assume that it's a lot. Once they're grown, all Antarctic blue whales communicate using sound, and these are some of the loudest sounds in the entire world. You see, the Antarctic blue whale can produce a call that will reach around 188 decibels. Compare that to the sound the aircraft engine produces, which stands at only 140 decibels. Some aircraft have higher noise levels and some have lower, but the fact that an animal can produce this sound is unbelievable to us. Plus, it's said that the whale's call can be heard at a distance of 500 miles. So does this mean people will go deaf if they hear a blue whale's call up close? Well, yes, if you can hear them. The sound frequency is so low that many people wouldn't even hear it. But let's assume that the sound frequency was higher and the whale emitted a call to nearby whales. Well, if there was a small fishing town on the shore, the entire population would probably go deaf. The sound waves are so popular, if you were in the water next to one, your ears would pick up the pressure waves and you would probably get dizzy and disoriented. Even though they're the most formidable animals on the planet, this didn't stop whalers from hunting them down since the beginning of the 20th century. It all started in South Georgia in 1904. For the next 60 years, the Antarctic blue whale was hunted down nearly to extinction. Of the 125,000 individuals in 1926, in 2018, there were only 3,000 of them left. The International Whaling Commission made hunting them illegals in the 60s, but illegal whalers continued killing them until 1972. Because of the low number of blue whales in the ocean, they're considered critically endangered and are placed on the IUCN Red List. To prevent this, the WWF is working with the Southern Ocean Commission to protect all of the habitats of the animals in Antarctica, and it seems like they're slowly recovering. How do we know? Well, a group of biologists from the British Antarctic Survey went on an expedition to the South Pole. They wanted to see how the Antarctic blue whale has managed to survive in the past years, and they saw an unprecedented number of 55 Antarctic blue whales. Extinction seems to be stopping, and Dr. Jennifer Jackson, a whale ecologist, had this to say about the phenomenon. After 3 years of surveys, we're thrilled to see so many whales visiting South Georgia to feed again. This is a place where both whaling and sealing were carried out extensively. It's clear that protection from whaling has worked. By the looks of things, their populations are increasing, but they're still some of the rarest whale species in the world. Now, if you have watched the video until now, we know it, you like whales. So let's dive into some other whales that are extremely majestic and rare. Have you heard of Migaloo? During an expedition off Byron Bay in Queensland in 1991, a group of volunteers decided to make a whale count. They packed their cameras and headed out, and for the first time in history, the world got to see the first ever albino humpback whale called Migaloo. The photo was taken from a telescope about 3 miles away. Later, they did some further testing and discovered that Migaloo was a male humpback whale based on the anatomy and his song. But this isn't where the story ends. You see, the team later discovered 3 different albino humpback whales. It turns out that all 3 of the whales were genetically linked to Migaloo, so they named them similarly. One was called Baloo, another one was Willow, and the third one was called Migaloo Jr. Just like any normal whale, all of them communicate through moans, grunts, shrieks, and groans, all of which are pretty loud for the human ear. But while the albino whales can communicate with others, there's a 52 Hz whale that is probably the loneliest whale in the entire world. They call him 52 Blue, and this is an individual whale of an unknown species that speaks at a higher frequency than any other species of whale in the entire world. For example, the Antarctic blue whale communicates at a frequency of between 10 and 39 Hz, while the fin whale communicates with a frequency of 20 Hz. But this lone soldier of a whale is special. Its sounds were first recorded in the late 80s, and they keep popping up on spectrograms in different areas of the world. Still, scientists have never seen this whale in person, and we don't know what it looks like in real life. However, the whale is so popular that it has been featured in many films, books, video games, and even music. While 52 Blue remains hidden, this whale didn't. It's called the northern bottlenose whale. It's about 32 feet long in length, and its face looks like a giant canary bird. These whales are most popular for their diving ability. They're capable of going to depths of around 7,700 feet. The whale can dive for just over 2 hours, but they're curious creatures. They'll flock to a ship or any other marine vessel that comes close, which is why they were easy prey for whalers in the 19th and 20th centuries. Sadly, this caused their population to diminish. Curiosity killed the cat, whale. Speaking of diminished populations, the whalers also targeted the sei whale. From a population of around 255,000 in 2008, they numbered only 80,000 individuals, and they're now placed on the list of endangered animals by the IUCN. It's the 3rd largest whale in the world, just behind the blue whale and the fin whale. They have a lifespan of about 70 years and can reach a length of about 64 feet. Their weight averages 28 tons, and they need about 0.9 tons of food per day just to survive. As we've said, that's the amount of food the average American consumes in a year. Now, one of the specialties of the sei whale is its speed bursts. On short distances, this whale can reach a speed of around 31 miles per hour. This makes it one of the fastest cetaceans on the planet, and certainly faster than the Antarctic blue whale. YouTube thinks that you should watch this video next.